welcome to youth mental health discussion. And this is brought to you courtesy of Rainbow Youtheens Ministry. Rainbow Youtheens is a youth organization that equips young people with the right knowledge and skills needed to lead better lives so that they can contribute positively to the sustainable development of society. And so the youth have come together to, and they've realized that mental health is barely given attention in Nigeria. I'm going to speak of Nigeria. I know it's something in Africa, but I'm going to speak of Nigeria because that is what we know of. It's given minimal attention in Nigeria, and a lot of youth, even adults, a lot of youth are going through, processes and things that are, making them not to be mentally healthy. We're not talking of mental illness, we're talking of the mental health. And so we have come together today to discuss it, to cry out, to say, oh, please, we need help in this aspect of our lives. And that's what this panel discussion is all about. So we'll go into the next one, which will be bringing a spoken word artist, Miss Adrian Francis, to bless us with her spoken word, which is going to capture everything we would discuss. As you all know, she's an international poet. Currently, her piece is being aired in Canada. So very soon, maybe by this now, the next time you'd hear about her, she's in the US. So she's an international poet, an entrepreneur, an engineering student, and a leader in whom I'm well pleased. So Miss Adrian, bless us with your voice.
Good afternoon, Thank you so much, Mark, for this opportunity. I'm here to present a piece. Supporting the movement, supporting this discussion today on mental health. And this piece is titled, My Depression. I hope this enlightens you. I wish they had told me earlier that on my own, this was a battle I couldn't fight. And no matter how much I tried, I struggled, all I did was stumble. This war snatched my light and turned my life into night. They say that joy comes in the morning, but I didn't experience joy because I never got to see my morning. My opponent was a warrior that I couldn't tame. Turned my life into darkness and loneliness. This was its aim. What more could I ask for? I had everything. I had good grades, but yet I couldn't even pass this mind test. Depression was so ready to carry me over to the afterlife, bury me in anxiety, a life full of strife. I lost my peace, and the only rest I could find was rest in peace. A life shattered into broken pieces. Laughter became my acquaintance. Depression became my regular guest. They say, dress how you want to be addressed, but the time I stared into the mirror, all I saw was someone less. Depression dressed me in sadness. Gloomy smiles and baggy clothes depicting a life full of emptiness. And like a fog, depression clouded my emotions and sense of reasoning. I was suffocating. I even pushed my best friend Kate away because this atmosphere was so overwhelming. It was an atmosphere I didn't want to suffocate in. Depression. Depression is lying, putting up fake smiles and parading myself like the Queen of London when I have lost my sense of acceptance, dead and long gone. Telling lies that I'm fine, I'm doing well by God's grace. Forgetting that through the grace of God is the supply of the Holy Spirit in alignment with the well-being of our own spirit. A supernatural reserve that we can't access without peace of mind. No wonder Paul's epistles prescribe to live beyond the life of defeat. He administered the tablet of grace and peace. I want to break this life of denial. I have been deprived of my life for so long. I've been made to beg for my life like daily bread. I'm struggling to rise. Depression has crippled my will. And no matter how much I try, I can't seem to get back to my feet. And like a bird in depression is pulling me down to the feet, I fall. I hide. I even put up a wall.
Okay, so without much ado, it's time for us to get right into the panel discussion where we'll be looking at what are challenges with mental health? What are the things that need to be discussed? What are the things we need to bring to the limelight? And we hope that at the end of the day, it's going to be awesome. And for those joining us, we restricted it so that we will be focused. For those that joined us, feel free to contribute. You want to contribute, just give us a signal by raising your hand and we'll call you to join us. So can we have the panelists on the stage? Okay, we can see the amazing youth that are on our stage. These are the panelists. Can I see your smiles? Please, I don't want these frowning faces. This is King Solomon. Blessed art thou among women, Minister Daniel Ike. Blessed art thou among women. So from my left, which would be from Miss Precious, you're going to introduce yourself. I am R.A.I.N.B.W. I am a student, and I'm an entrepreneur. That's just it. All right, from my left, can we have the panelists introduce themselves?
All right, thank you very much, Ma. My name is Precious Chris. I'm a student of the University of Port Harcourt, a girl child activist and an entrepreneur. Thank you, Ma. Thank you.
All right, my name is Daniel Ike. I'm a gospel musician and an entrepreneur as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ma. My name is Adrian Francis. I'm a student of the University of Port Harcourt, a gas engineering student, an entrepreneur, and also a youth and teenagers advocate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. My name is Carlo Cates. I'm a medical student from the University of Calabar, and I'm also a copywriter. Thank you, Ma.
Okay, so that mic is good. So welcome, my panelists, with your beautiful faces, and blessed art thou one more time amongst women. After this show, just let me know which of them you want to marry or all of them. We can arrange. Okay, so we get right into the order of the day. So I'm going to start with our understanding of mental health, because I know we're already aware of why we're here. So I'm going to ask our understanding, let's just make it very brief. This is what I understand, not dictionary understanding. If you don't even have an understanding, let's just just say it out that I don't have an understanding. Maybe this panel discussion is what is making me to understand it. So I'm going to start with Carlo Kate. What do you understand by mental health? I'm not talking of mental health challenges. I'm asking mental health.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Mental health, in my opinion, is a state of well-being where a person is able to identify his strengths and weaknesses, also able to cope with life's challenges, as well as contributing positively to society.
All right, that's wonderful. Can I hear your understanding of what mental health is, Daniel?
Okay, for me, I would like to look at mental health as a completeness of someone, starting from the well-being of the mind, because the mind somewhat controls the activities of someone. So it is the healthiness or the well-being of someone's mind. Thank you.
Oh, great. I like that definition. Just pass it to Precious. I like that definition of mental health. All right. What's in your understanding, what is mental health?
Okay, thank you, Ma. Mental health, simply put, is, I think it's the condition of someone's ability to take care of situations psychologically and handle occurrences around him, his emotions, and all of that. So I think it's simply someone's condition of ability to handle the situations or occurrences around him psychologically.
All right, thank you. I like that definition. Adrian, what in your understanding? I'm not going to be asking us all the questions together, but I want to know if the panelists actually understand this, our discussion. That's why I'm taking everybody's answer on this. So what's your understanding of mental health?
Okay, thank you, Ma. For me, I would define mental health as a state of total well-being, because when your mental state is in check, every other thing about you will be in check. Your emotions, your activities, how you respond and react to things, how you're able to handle things. So it's a state of total well-being, where regardless of what is happening around you, you can still cope with life and still be productive. Thank you, Ma.
Okay, a state of total well-being. Wonderful, perfect. And then you said something about you can still cope. Is that coping mechanism that is actually shattering our mental wellness? When we want to just want to cover up everything happening in us, and then we just try to want to cope, want to, act like all is well. So that coping, I'm going to ask you a question on later on. Now we are youth in Nigeria. I'm going to ask us the next question, which is, what are some myths surrounding mental health? There are lots of myths. Number one, it says, let me give you an example, because I know that you also know a lot because you're youth. Number one myth is, if you're having mental health challenge, it is you're possessed. That's number one myth. So I'm going to ask us, what are some myths, surrounding this mental health? Myth can be misunderstanding, misconception of this word mental health. That's what I mean. What are the misunderstanding, misconceptions, of mental health in Nigeria? So I'm going to start with Adrian, since you're now with the mic. Our guest, please bear with us. It's only one mic that is perfect, so we're going to work with that. So what are some of the things that you know that are misconceptions or myths surrounding mental health in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you, Ma. One of the myths I know is people usually associate mental health with madness. Okay, when you hear mental health, you think about the fact that someone is mad or mentally unstable, but there are different outcomes of.
I said, I'm saying, I'm listening.
Okay, sorry, ma. But there are different aspects that relate to mental health and wellness. So people usually mistake it for being mad, and then they are always relating it to okay, mental asylum or mental unstableness. So this is one myth,
Oh,
ma.
great.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any other thing to add? There are several myths and misconceptions. Okay, give it to Kate. Or everybody has. Great. All
Thank
right.
you, Ma. I think another myth is that mental health should be given a little consideration. I think people from this part of the world feel mental health is insignificant considered to other aspects of our life, not knowing that an unstable mind or an unhealthy mind will not be able to produce effectively. So I think one of the myths is mental health is insignificant and should be given less consideration. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, great. Insignificant. Okay, pass it on. They all want to contribute something.
Well, people actually sometimes streamline mental health challenges to, let's say, someone's outlook. When you see somebody and the person is slim or look somewhat, you can assume that is this person okay? So we generally categorize it to physical outlook, but I think it's beyond that.
Yes, I like that. That's wonderful. That's a very Precious. I'm coming to you shortly, darling. That's one very powerful point. Number one, they feel mental health in Nigeria is something physical. So when you are looking like Kolo, they will know that something is wrong with you. But when you're well dressed, like you all are dressed, so it looks like all is working with you. So that is a very powerful misconception that mad people or people that maybe their makeup, like this side is blue, green, you now wear different hand of clothes. It's this person they well at all. And then the person that is well gauged up right now, like you guys, you are perfect in health. Thank you for that, Daniel. Precious.
Okay,
Yes.
ma'am. We basically said the ones we actually face in this part of the world. One more thing, I think mental health is actually associated with depressed people depressed, and those who aren't outspoken. So basically, probably your case can be that of someone who came up in an environment that didn't give you a good foundation, and just coming out and you're unable to fit in, you're unable to speak boldly, they just tag you to someone who actually has this mental illness. So thank you.
Yes, great. That's when people are a bit introverted or come from a background that they were not allowed to speak outrightly, and that makes it look like, oh, there's something wrong with this person. Great. So I was going to ask, what are your own misconceptions of mental health? So it's just one person, one or two persons. What is your own misconception? Because right now we're speaking, I want our questions and our answers to come from the point of ourselves. Because right now we feel we're very much okay. But there are questions I'm going to ask you. You will know that your mental health is also being challenged. So what are your own, one or two misconceptions that you've had about mental health? Who is with the mic? Precious? Okay, so answer.
Okay, my misconception used to be a depressed person. So when having, but whenever I hear the word mental health, I just feel like, okay, this person is really depressed. Your own is just too much like you're not outspoken. You cannot stand out for yourself, and you really need help. That's one. And another one is madness. I feel like whenever you say mental health, whenever you use the word mental health, I just target to the mad people who are insane physically, they just look like they're always on rag. I just feel like, okay, this one, they're actually having this issue. I didn't know it has to do with everyone. I didn't know it has to do with people's fitness and all of that. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. She captioned everything, all the misconceptions in Nigeria. So Precious summed it up. We associate mental health with madness. Once you're not looking well physically, you are mentally derailed. So I'm going to ask, before I ask this question, I want to say that every human being has mental needs. And so mental health is important. We all have it. Your physical health is also attributed to your mental health. So when we talk about mental health, we're not talking of mental illness. Mental illness are things like schizophrenia, psychosis, and all that. We are not talking about that. We're talking about our total well-being as a youth. So I'm going to ask this question. What have been the most difficult things that have contributed to your mental challenges as a youth? I'm not talking in general terms. What have been the things that you have experienced or are experiencing that you know makes you not to really feel good enough for yourself? So who would want to speak? It's an open question.
Okay, initially it used to be expectations. Certain times we place expectations and we say, between this time and that time, I'm supposed to achieve this and I'm supposed to do that. So when you see yourself having to go through these times without achieving these certain goals that you set for yourself, let me call them goals actually, then you can see yourself, not being good with yourself and judging it side by side with how much we think other people are achieving for themselves. So this is a major factor for me. I had to consciously start dealing with it, because I set certain goals for myself and I say, this is what I'm supposed to be because this is where someone in my age bracket is supposed to be. So when I don't meet such expectations, I see myself, start shrinking and start feeling not so good about myself. And it used to be a very big challenge. And I discovered that if that could happen to me, there are so many others it's happening to, and it's something that is worth talking about. Thank you, Mom.
Okay, great. Thank you for that answer. So I'm going to ask, the next question is part of this, but so that we can be fast. What are the things that have really affected your mental health? The things you know that have really affected you mentally. Now, I'm not talking of madness, so we have already established what mental health is. What are the things that are really, let me give you an example of mine. When I'm working, and then I'm being called on phone, and I'm talking on phone for long, it affects me. It affects my state of mind. It affects my concentration. It affects me really, like internally. So that is one thing. And then worry affects me, drains me. So I just gave you an example so that you understand my question. So what are the things that affects you first, and then youth mentally, like it clamps you down? So Adrian, I've not heard your voice, so I'm going to take Adrian.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Personally, the first one I would say is unstableness, maybe in my family background, like when there's this form of how would I put it, disagreement, where there's no balance, no form of agreement between. Let me personalize it. For example, like me and my mom, when we don't come to that common ground where we understand ourselves, sometimes I feel maybe she doesn't understand me. It's more like we are having issues. I don't understand her, or she doesn't understand me, and it's always ending up in arguments. So it usually affects me because it makes me feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, or maybe I'm not doing enough, or there's something I'm not doing. There's one other of my sibling or someone that is better than me. Sometimes it looks like she's portraying it that way, but then I don't know, it just affects me. I guess I start comparing myself, okay, what am I doing wrong? So it weighs me down to the extent that it even affects other aspects of my life. I start comparing myself with other people. So this is one major aspect that affects my mental health.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. You see, I decided to ask 3 questions you know, as against arranged questions, because I want us to express ourselves. And this point is a very strong point, because when there is no love in families, can we listen to me? Listen to me. We are distracting me, Precious. Concentrate. We can see you on camera. So when there is no love in families, there is no oneness in families, it affects the mental health of children, teenagers, and youth. Because a family is supposed to be where we feel a sense of belonging. We feel accepted, like even if we're rejected at home, outside, when we come to the house, we're supposed to be loved, to be hugged. You know, I also felt that way growing up. And it shatters your mind. I felt that way. Sometimes I felt my mom was very biased with my elder sister, because she's graduating from secondary school. Oh, she bought her the best clothes, the best shoes. And the next time I'm graduating, nobody even bought me pants. So I carried it in my mind. It made me make so many mistakes. I felt so unloved. I'm not important, because if I'm important, you will do the same thing that you did for me. So that sense of love, that sense of belonging is a key point that we need to address. Families need to know that, parents need to know that their children that they brought into the world are not their problems. If they have problems, they should fix the problems and not transfer that aggression. This is a case we'll be handling. Even over here in this part of the world, you will see when you discuss with you, to just say that the problem is coming from the families. They don't feel loved. They don't feel approved. They don't feel accepted. They feel misunderstood. So you don't have this relational, I don't have this relationship with your parents, with your folk. It can shatter one's mind, and it shuts you down. It makes you start having the feeling of inferiority complex. You start feeling withdrawn. You start feeling not important. You know, no matter how much of the word of God you know, this is the one surrounding you. How can you deal with this? So thank you for that wonderful point. That lack of love and stress at home can affect you. Does anybody have anything to add to that before I get to the next topic?